Okay, so this video is going to show you how to make a kernel density map. There's a section in your lesson prompt on creating the kernel density map and a little theory or background on how it works. It's worth your while to look through that so that this isn't just a black box, because there are lots of ways to tweak a kernel density map to change its appearance to suit your purposes, but you have to understand how they work in order to do that. So take a look at that, and I'm going to jump down to step 13 where we actually start creating it. And we're going to open up the crime1 attribute table, which I already have open. And we're going to add a field. So click add a field. And this field is going to be called event. And that's because each of these single events, each of these crimes are a single event. So we're going to call it event. And since we're going to use the number 1 to indicate a single event, we don't need a very long data structure. We can just use short integer. And then let's see what else here. Under numeric, or actually under number format, we're going to just change it to numeric. And we don't really have to do anything else to that. Okay. And close that, and then we're set to just save it. And then let's check to see if it actually worked. So close the fields table, and that leaves us with an event column over here with no data in it. Okay, so to do this we have to fill it, and we'll go to calculate field. Right click on event, calculate field, and we want to fill it with the number 1 for each one of these being a single event, a single criminal act. So event equals simply 1. Okay, and let's see, field name is event. I think we're supposed to call this thing, here we go, field name. Yeah, we're good. Just run it. And you should have all those nulls go away and be replaced by the ones. Okay. In number 16 in the document, you're asked to explain why you have to create this field. And I just touched on that, so think about that a little bit more. So now we're going to search for the kernel density tool. And the way we do that, we click on analysis, hit the red toolbox. Oops, come on back. That's collapsing over here because I have auto hide turned on, and it's not very patient. It closes quickly. Type in kernel density, and there it is. Click it. Our input point features are going to be crime 1. The population field we want to use is event. Event. And the output raster, we're going to call this, like I said, we'll just use the default name for this one. Okay, kernel density for crime 1. Output cell size, let's see if we have to make a change to that. And doesn't look like it. The area units are square miles. And output cell density is planar method. It's all good. But don't hit run yet. We're going to go up to environments. And something we have to change here, because we've limited our processing to we want to limit it just to region 1, no longer the whole county. So we're going to change we want the output coordinates to be the same as the current map. They already are, it appears, but I'm just going to confirm it. Okay, so that's done. And we want the extent, the mask, extent right here, change the extent to region 1. You notice that these corner markers changed. It's because we've made it much smaller. And cell sizes, maximum of inputs, that's fine. Don't do any conversion. Let the mask also be, see how the mask says Fairfax County border? We don't want that. So change the mask to match region 1 also. And it looks pretty good now. Let's double check. We're going to leave all the settings the same. We can go back to parameters or not. Doesn't matter. We can run it. Now, for a lot of people running this, they thought it didn't work because it looks like nothing happened. But you'll notice over here in your table of contents that when this thing is finished running the kernel density, look where it put it. It puts it way down here at the bottom, which means it's hiding underneath all these other features. So just if you have it, make sure you're selecting list by drawing order, and then you can bring this up to the top. You can see that it did work. There it is. So let's turn off some things that we don't need on right now. And I'm going to turn off region 1. And what else is turned on here? Nothing. Okay. And it looks like there's another layer, it's light color here, but it's actually this right here inside this kernel density layer. All right, so let's zoom in. You notice it's very pixelated, but it's not changing its scale. That's one of the things I like about kernel density better than the heat maps. I don't really like it when I'm trying to see a certain pattern and the data starts to disaggregate and it starts to make lots of smaller centers to the point where the sense of where there's a real concentration almost dissolves. So depends on the problem you're working on, but I like this. But notice that this is a raster that looks kind of like Minecraft with all these squares. These are the cell sizes of the original raster that it's working with. So what I want to do is make that smoother looking. So the way you do that is go up to Appearance, and we're going to resample it and use a type of line interpolation. And I imagine it's just going from the center of the values. It looks at the other 4 cells around it. It's an algorithm that will smooth it out for us like that. Okay. Now what's it say to do in the instructions? I think we're going to use change this to 5 classes, and don't forget to answer the questions for number 16, 19, and 22. But we're supposed to change the number of classes. We have too many here. So right click symbology, right click on the kernel density, go to symbology, and change the number of, let's see, classified. I think it's all set good. Let's see. Yeah, change the number of classes to 5. Okay, there you go. And sometimes I will make the first one here. I mean, there still are some crimes in here, but they're much less common. You can sometimes get away with making this color transparent when you're really not looking for, you're not interested in areas where there's little crime. You're interested in areas where there's a lot of crime. And this way you can change this. You can try this if you like. Just choose no color for that first one. And now it looks like that. Really makes it stand out better. All right. And there's also a time when you're supposed to, under Appearance, highlight the kernel density, choose Swipe, and then you're able to, come on, swipe. There you go. And then you can see what's underneath there. And you probably noticed that that's Town Center, our biggest crime magnet. Okay. So that's how you do the kernel density maps.